we do like to cover everything between supernatural and paranormal, all the way to true crime. And as of recent, we want to try and keep up a bit more on current events with all of the topics. We have come across some more recent, because of school starting, true crime.
Has anything happened in your state?
We lost power in schools delayed until the 19th. So, as of going as far as anything happening at schools, no, nothing has happened because no school.
It is back to school time. I see a lot of stuff on social media talking about backpacks, and now anymore it seems like they have to be see-through. How is it up there where you are? Can they have just regular backpacks?
Yeah, I mean, my son carries, well, he just had a backpack, like a regular backpack. He carried all his books in because it was easier to just carry everything with him instead of taking it back to the locker and back to class, locker in class.
Yeah. Here you have to have clear backpacks. You have to be able to see through them. Which I mean, it sucks. I feel like all of the things that we did when we were growing up that kind of um, allowed us to have some individualism is kind of weeded out of there. But at the same time, there's people that for ages have worn uniforms to school, or everybody just wore the same thing and looked the same. But um, anyway, so school started in most places. I know it didn't where you are because you guys had a tornado come through and it's delayed everything. I guess you didn't have power for like a week, about.
Almost.
Yeah. So, but school has started in a lot of places. Um, and I've seen with it a lot of criminal crap and violence and shit. I think there was a shooting at a bus stop in South Carolina. And locally, I think the first thing I heard of around here was up in Anadarko. There was, I think it was a junior high football team went out on a water break during practice, and the coaching staff and the supervisors just kind of left them unattended. And several of the team members singled out a single teammate. And if you look at like the news reports, all it says is that they cornered him and picked him up and carried him across the way to like a dumpster or a trash receptacle and put him in it. But what I've seen on Facebook are like angry parents, and one in particular, very angry parent, talking about how he was pushed and spit on, and even said something about he was choked and thrown into lockers. There were a bunch of students watching, and one of them decided to record it, but nobody stepped in and did anything. All of these kids just watched it and recorded it, but none of them did anything. Which I don't get that. I don't understand how, in a sea of faces, nobody can say anything. Nobody can step up. Did confirm that there was going to be disciplinary consequences for the students involved and for the staff that left them unattended, but due to some privacy bullshit, they're not saying exactly what is being done. Which I mean, when it comes to the kids, I don't think names really need to be put out there, but when you have adult staff that have been negligent, why are why can't you disclose their consequences?
The whole privacy thing, I agree. I agree that the whole it's kind of a bullshit thing. Like you said, no names, that's fine, whatever. But as a parent, we want to know what's happening. We want to know what's going on. Is something going to happen so that this isn't going to happen again? Is it something that's going to be a bit more like secure? And as far as like just watching an event happen, I mean, that's trained into these kids now because their parents did it. Because all these people are just recording everything. That's all they're doing is recording everything. Nobody's trying to step in and help anybody else. They're just recording. And the way they see that they're helping is sitting there and posting this stuff online and either making fun of it or like criticizing to some degree.
Right.
And so I feel like the whole just standing to the side and watching, because there was a time when, like when I was younger, I'm sure you too, when there was a point where if we saw somebody that was in need or something, we'd step in and try and do something to help in
Definitely.
some manner.
Yeah.
And, those of us that still have that like disposition or that not disposition, that mentality have tried to put that and take that and pour it into our own kids. So we are hoping that our kids do it, but with the mindset that the mass group of kids have, how much is that going to make a difference? It's like putting a drop in the in a lake or a pond or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of stuff is a result of social media. But you're right. These kids that watched and recorded, what did they want someone to do if that was happening to them? Did they want someone to step in?
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Do they
I
want
mean,
someone to step in and do something different than what they did? You know?
yeah,
I mean, what
when you think about it, right? It's like, wouldn't you want somebody to help you if you were getting choked or beat up on or carried away
right.
somewhere?
And then at the same time I think, well, they're just kids. I also kind of think, well, fuck that. Because you're a human being and that's another human being and you just watched this person get treated that way. Like they were inhuman and you did absolutely nothing.
Eh,
You at the very least you could have run to the staff or the supervisor and told them, "Hey, this is happening."
exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna say the exact same thing. It's like they are kids, yes, and that doesn't mean that they have to sit there and throw hands or get their hands dirty. They can just run and go tell somebody, but instead
Right.
they stand there with their phones out recording this stuff.
Right. Yeah, I get not wanting to get like in the middle of it, not wanting to get punched in the mouth or the throat or get thrown in the trash with them or get made fun of. And maybe you don't even want to be talked about as a narc because you ran off and told. Well, maybe nobody finds out that you did, but at the same time, does it really fucking matter? Because you just let someone get treated like they weren't even a human being. But then
Like,
yet you're going to expect someone to help you when you're being treated that way.
hmm
It just I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't understand. And parents need to due diligence to teach their kids to stand up and say something. I don't, and maybe they did, but somehow none of the kids got the memo. I don't understand. Maybe I'm just
well,
a little bit
the,
sideways on it.
but I mean, that's what I'm saying though, is there may be a kid that like is standing there in that group watching, in that group of watchers right there. A kid standing there going, I need to do something. I should step in. No, I should go tell somebody. I should run and tell somebody. But then they're looking to the left and right and seeing their friends that would sit there and criticize them for it. They'd be critical on them for it, for doing something like that. Oh, why are you doing that? Do you like them? Are you doing that because you like them? Are you why are you going to tell a teacher, "Oh, you are a narc?" And that then they're going to spend the rest of their year being bullied for that shit. So nobody wants to be bullied and they're doing it. But at the same time, think about that. Like if they're your friends are going to do that shit, are they really friends?
No. I love the kids that are not followers. I love the kids that are themselves. They
Mhm.
have their own ideas and and it largely doesn't matter what the rest of the crowd is doing. Love the kids that still stand up and do what not necessarily everybody else does, and speak up for uh, someone that's not being treated right. Speak up whenever you see something that's wrong. Um, it's just, I don't know, it's disheartening. So the thing in Anadarko is not the only thing that happened recently. There's this place called Caney in Oklahoma. It's, I believe it's a smallish town. It's over in southeastern Oklahoma, in Atoka County. There were four boys that on a bus, and I don't think the bus was moving. I think that this bus was sitting stationary at a baseball game. But four boys on the team sexually assaulted and sodomized three of the younger students, all of which were IEP students. And I think most everybody's familiar with IEP, but it stands for Individualized Education Program. And it's for students that have a qualifying disability, which can be anything from dyslexia or dyscalculia to a mood disorder to physical um, chronic illnesses. It's just a wide range of things.
Yeah, my
Um,
my son is a IEP student, and
yeah.
it's because he's not able to hold his attention in the class. Um, for other reasons too, but like mostly just he's not able to focus, and it's it's interesting that we can gather that information while when testing a student
Hmm.
and actually be able to figure out a better educational program for that individual. That's cool.
Right. So all three of these students were IEP students. One of the students is autistic. The other two I don't know anything about. It doesn't really matter. It wouldn't have mattered at all. I think it just being brought up is just the fact that they were possibly, especially the autistic student, more vulnerable to be victimized, and that
Hmm.
was taken advantage of. One of the abusers videotaped it. Um, I don't know the details other than sexual assault and sodomized. I have seen some parents and other people in the school district talking online. There's talk that sodomy was done with a baseball bat. I don't really know. I don't know the details, but it sounds bad. And I've seen several times people saying this case, what happened is way worse than what news outlets and the school are letting on.
Well, it is like you said to me yesterday. This case in particular is being very hushed. It's not very out there.
What's really bad is that aside from it happening at all, the coach, when he became aware of it, he didn't report it. There are some things that it doesn't matter. You have to report it. It's a mandatory. And apparently he didn't report it. There's word that students were saying, well, coach told us not to tell anybody. There's been absolutely no arrests. There's been no charges. Um, they're calling it hazing and bullying. The superintendent and law enforcement have not disclosed any relation that the coach may have with other school personnel, but I have seen it be brought up that there's speculation that, like, I don't live there, so I don't know for sure, but maybe he's possibly married to the principal or the
Hmm.
superintendent or something,
Hmm.
some type of familial relation between him and other officials in the school.
I mean, there's got to be something going on there because of how everybody's treating the situation. I mean, nobody's speaking up about it. I mean, if nobody even mentioned it, or even, the video that's allegedly out there, like, if none of that came to a front at all, would we have ever known about it?
Yeah. Now the tape from Anadarko that was put on Facebook. I actually watched the video of it. This video hasn't been released, which is
Mm-hmm.
good because it sounds like it's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But that is evidence. And then you have um, people reporting it, like victims reporting it. So I don't understand why there are no criminal charges.
I mean, you even have the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation in there,
Yes.
starting to investigate it now too. So I mean, that really makes me wonder. That really makes me wonder, like, how much of, like, all of the that particular, town or city, however big it is, um, has hush money going around. And that's
Yeah,
just
I don't
kind of
know.
my own theory. That's my, like, I'm not saying that that's what it is by any means, but the fact that nobody's saying anything, like, as far as we know, no information is being given to really anybody, and like it's just it's too quiet for it
Yeah.
to really be anything.
This is not, I don't care what they say. This is not hazing and this is not bullying. This is children assaulting vulnerable children of their peers.
Hmm. Absolutely.
That's all it is. It is assault. It is sexual assault. It's not any, oh, it's kid stuff. It's just bullying. It's hazing. No, it is assault. It is criminal, and there should be criminal charges. And I really hope that the parents of these victims have found some really great attorneys because it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And whenever stuff like this happens, and then you hear, oh, it's worse than they're saying it is. It's worse than the reporting, and or this isn't the first time. Whenever you hear stuff like that, you cannot question why there are things like fights and stabbings and shootings in our public schools.
Hmm.
Um, and it's not just our schools, there's violence in schools around the world. The
Oh
thing
yeah.
is, it's different about America is that a lot of times the violence in our schools comes from, not always, but comes from students that feel invisible or they've gotten all the wrong attention. And it is things like this shit that makes kids feel like this. Whenever, and maybe that is even why some people, like we were talking about in Anadarko, why nobody ran off and said something. Maybe it's shit like this that makes them not do it because they feel like they're not going to be heard. Because these kids said, hey, this happened to me in Caney, and they videoed it, and coach knows, and nobody's doing anything. How helpless do you feel?
Absolutely.
Everyone wants to talk about gun control. Well, what about this? Because this is the real issue right here. I think that it's overlooked a lot. The blame is put from here to here to here. And like I said, violence happens in schools around the world, but in other places it's usually political. Here it's not.
Hmm.
It A lot of the times it's kids. If it's kids doing it, it is just kids that feel invisible and stepped on and made fun of, and we let it. And sometimes we encourage it. Like the fucking school district in Caney, Oklahoma. Not there's there and law enforcement. What are you doing? There's no charges. Nothing. Yeah.
When I hear about, like, these kids that bully other kids, it pisses me off. And then people that just dismiss it because they think it's a part of high school.
I think that there is not a lot of space created for uncomfortable conversations that sometimes kids need to have with someone bigger than them, someone that has a little more control over situations that happen to them.
Hmm.
I don't think that space is made. Sometimes I think that the adults handling the situation are ill equipped to handle the situation. Maybe they don't know what to say, but that's the thing about listening. You can't listen if your mouth is moving. So if you're saying, that's, that's just normal, that's just bullying. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of resources around us that just are not utilized. But I think here, one thing I just keep going back to that pisses me off about all of this is not calling something what it is. This stuff that happened in Caney and even the stuff that happened in Anadarko, that is assault. In the
Right.
case of Caney, there's sexual assault involved, which is it adds another layer of shame to the whole event of being victimized.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
It's dangerous no matter where we go.
It is, and even if you go into the homeschool community, there's difficulties in it too because you don't
Hmm.
just stay home all the time with your kids.
Well, I mean, when I say it's dangerous, wherever we go, it's just it doesn't matter how we go through life. We're gonna conduct ourselves through all of it regardless. It's all gonna we encounter so much of life, just walking through it. And whether there be bullies or no bullies, we're gonna have some sort of time where we're gonna learn how to deal with everything. I don't know. It's hard, and it's gonna
Yeah.
be hard for our future kids, but our future grandkids. Our future grandkids, is what I mean. Sorry.
Childhood shouldn't be as hard as it is a lot of the times. Your job should just be to be a child.
To live.
Yeah, to do kid
Yeah.
things. As an adult, though, we have a lot of other jobs, and one of them is to protect those kids that should just be allowed to be kids. We don't just let children make every single decision there is out there for them to make because they do not have the life experience, the wisdom, and the knowledge to make all of those heavy decisions that have to
Hmm.
be made in life. And as adults, we have to protect them. And that also means not leaving them unattended to make horrible, horrible decisions.
You know, it's funny hearing you say that because I don't know how many episodes ago you and I were saying going, when we were kids, we were out till like 10 or 11 at night and we didn't have anybody watching over us and we were making whatever decisions we want.
We did.
But it's so funny to hear that because it's like, I mean, you're right. You're right. You're right. Because, we need to have them develop,
What did we learn from that growing up that way?
that we're, I can't say it with a straight face. I was going to say we're okay, but
We are okay. Yeah, sure, we're okay. But, there
not
were
in the head.
there there were a lot of places where I know that we needed more supervision and more guidance
Yeah.
than we got. It's amazing that we're both alive, that we didn't die in our teen years.
So I see what you're saying. So like growing up, we learned what we would need as children, but we didn't have that as children. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
So now we try to do
S-
it for our kids or
Right.
I
Yeah.
did when I was raising them, and I still do. They're grown, but
Well, you did. I didn't. I just fed them to the sharks whenever I could. So I was like, "Swim, baby, swim."
it's funny because we were like latchkey kids, I
Hmm.
guess. We
Oh yeah,
just
absolutely.
totally had free reign, and then out of that, I feel like a lot, not all, but a lot of our generation became overly protective and overly involved.
Hmm.
Um, and that creates a whole set of other issues.
Well, I mean, to a degree, but I mean, like, when I was growing up, I didn't have like my parents come to my spelling bee events. That sounds
Right.
nerdy, I know. I know it sounds nerdy, but I was a pro at spelling. I love spelling. I made it to state championships. I didn't go because I had no one to take me
Yeah.
and
No, I
nobody
get
to
it.
show up to it. And so I'm like, I would have loved it if my parents showed up to my shit, you know. So I'm gonna make
So
it to
what
my
did we
kids'
do?
shit.
We went to all of our kids' shit.
Absolutely, I went
Every single fucking thing. We
every
went.
time my daughter got up there and danced. I was there to watch and record. You know,
Yeah. Because they were always going to know that we were interested, always going to know that we
absolutely,
cared, always going to know that they were loved. And
absolutely.
I think that's, something that came out of it. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. It's just, sometimes there's not a balance in between. And now I don't know what is happening because it's just there's no reason to leave these kids unattended. There was no reason for these kids to be on that bus by themselves.
Mhm.
There absolutely none. And I don't get that. And then
Well, the kids on the bus weren't even really unattended, weren't right? The bus driver was there.
that's what I was saying. I don't think that the
Oh,
bus
oh,
was moving.
oh,
I think that they had gone back to it,
yeah.
or maybe everybody had gotten off of it except for. I'm not real sure on the
Mhm,
details of that. But then the coach that, became aware of it and didn't immediately report it,
mhm.
that is criminal.
Right.
No way around it. That is absolutely criminal. That, what, and then telling students, if he actually did tell students to not tell anybody, that's also criminal. I
Mhm.
mean, that's hey, something really bad happened. Um, but let's just do something different over here and like sweep it under the rug kind of
Right.
thing.
Right. Look the other way.
Yeah, and which devalues you as the victim and you as the witness that wants to say something.
Right.
It
Yeah.
says that you're not important and what you have to say is not important. So next time something happens, and something else will happen because that's how life is, are you going to speak up?
Unfortunately.
Are you going to be less likely to speak up or more likely because of what the coach did?
Yeah, I mean, put yourself in that person, the person that's suffering at that moment. Put yourself in their shoes. Would you want somebody to help you? Would you want somebody to go and grab somebody? Something? Just anything. Is
Mhm.
that what you'd want?
I think the whole thing with the coach, if he did tell students not to say anything, I think it lights me up. And your coach is telling you don't tell stuff that's happened that you saw. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of pressure there. That's your
Well,
coach.
especially if your coach is maybe your coach, maybe the coach like threw in the little like, don't tell anybody or you're going to be benched for the rest of the year.
It could be anything. It could
You
be off the
know?
team. You could be
Yeah.
benched, And
You're not
if
going to start the team out. And it's like, oh,
and if you really like playing the sport, or if you have a parent at home that pressures you a lot in the
mhm,
sport,
yeah.
there's a lot of pressure there. So, yeah,
That's another
it's
sort of situation, isn't it? Like
mhm.
the family that sits there and is like, my son or my daughter, they're the all-star quarterback. They're the they're the I can't think of any basketball, terms, but you know, they're this person, they're this all-star. or all-star track and fielder. It's like, I can't have you lose your spot. You best not. And it's
Yeah.
just,
It's like the athlete on The Breakfast Club.
thank you. Yes, it's something exactly like that.
Yeah.
They got to keep the reputation clean. They got to keep their grades clean. Otherwise,
Uh-huh.
they can't play the big game.
Right. Yeah, and the big game is, yeah, most important.
Yeah, because the college guys, the college recruits, they're going to be showing up to that game. They're going to be sitting in those bleachers, and it's just, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So the coach could have had anything to say, but that's the frustration of the whole thing, is that they're not saying anything. It's so hushed, and it's like, I'm hoping that having the Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation there is going to make a difference in how this pans out, because so far what it looks like is it's going to, like, they're going to come out and have this like real vague speech and be like, "Oh, we got it all sorted out. There's been, you know, punishments handed out, and we're going to do this, and they're going to be suspended, and a slap on the wrist here and a slap on the wrist there." And that's going to be like the most frustrating thing, is to hear that kind of speech out there.
Yeah, I don't know the Anadarko one. I do feel like the public needs to know what disciplinary action is being dealt to those that neglected to keep those students supervised. Um, they are uh, at a public school, and there are other students, not just the ones involved. We've just had a very unpolished um, conversation that was not very news anchory of us. But I just wanted to sit around with you and, um, talk about the things that we care about in our communities, and like the places that we send our kids to every morning, or in your case, will be sending your kid to every morning since school hasn't started yet there. But yeah, what's going on in your community? Like, is something happening where you are? You want to tell us about? Maybe we can talk about it. Um, until then, I don't know. I think we need to do better, and if it's not us directly, we need to demand better out of those that are in that type of power within our schools and in the community and the law enforcement.
I thought you
That's
were
it, I
saying
guess.
lawn.
Lawn enforcement.
Get more with your HOA.